Now we're back. We're going to tackle the IPs. Now that we have all the names set. Now I do want to go back to the main screen here. I want to check this because I skipped it. This is going to come in handy. And actually, let's see. Doesn't come in so handy here, but it will come in handy when we start doing things like building the instructions. So if you're going to type instructions, your variable names will pop out here. So you could do something like router config requirements. Let's see, actually, I'm going to say router. I'm not going to do anything crazy with this. I'll just pop that in, router name. And you can see it grabs it, from whatever it generated, which is it's not kind of cool, it's super cool. So that's going to be very useful for you. So that pops it in. There's other places you can use it when you're building your Antro network. Um, your variables will be available, but these are hard-coded values that we're not really checking. We're just using them, on the topology screen. We need to build some more variables. We need the variables for the networks. Now, what I did off recording is I did some thinking and some planning. Hopefully, I did enough. So for subnet 1, which is going to be on the left side of this topology, these are the three scenarios I might want to run. So network 10, 10, 172, 16. Subnet 2 on the right, 50, 20, 172, 17. Make sure that you don't have overlap or things are going to go bad. I'm not really doing any crazy subnetting, so I'm going to use the same subnet mask for every scenario. I don't need three different subnet masks, so I just have one. For the router for gig 00, which is right here, I'm going to use the first IP address, and so I've got that address written out for each scenario, depending on which one gets chosen. Same thing with the gig 01. These are the IPs for the interface if it hits one of those scenarios. I did the same thing with the switches. So for the switches, I'm using the second available network address, and I took care to make sure I have the right subnets available. And then on the PCs, there's two of them, and so the PC on the left, um, I'm using the 10th IP in the range, and the PC on the right using the 10th one in the range. This is to keep me straight, because I got to create pools and variables that use all this stuff. So I'm going to keep this handy. I'm going to move this right over here, and I'm going to be doing some copying and pasting. So I need to create some variables. I'm sorry, some pool names. So let's get to it. Subnet 1. Uh, it's terribly long. I don't like that. Let's see. Sub 1 net. I want it plural because, it implies that there is more than one. Uh, I know the name is stupid. I don't care. All right, cool. So what networks we want? We want all three of these. And this is where we just kind of separate them with semicolons. 172.16.0.0. All right, cool. Did I do a capital P there? Yeah, I don't want that. I want a lower P. Lower P. I did a I did a dash, not an underscore. Consistency. P underscore sub 2 nets. And let me just copy this and I'll tweak it. I want network 5. I want network 20 and 172.17. and double check it. It's, if you're on a computer with a small screen, it is kind of hard to see. All right, perfect. So that's just the pool. That's not, saying which one to use. That's what the variable does. So down here, I would say subnet 1, subnet 2, and I don't want these random. I want to do the same thing using the indexes. You know what? No, I do need them to be. I do need to use seeds because I'm going to be pulling from, 3 networks. For the networks, I'm going to be pulling, for the IPs, I want to keep it consistent because I got network 1, 10, and 172.16. I got 1, 10, 172.16. I wanted to pull from the same seed. So these do need to be seeded. Now the seed I used already has 3 values in it, so I could just really reuse that. Um, I'm just going to be, I don't know, I'm not, even though I don't really need this, I'm just going to use one called network index. And I know I'm being redundant, but, or I could have said, top, or for topology index, whatever. All right, go back to strings. We're going to make these seed values. And that was network index. Cool. So now we got the subnet there, and then we can do some cool things like this. We can actually kind of use this right now. We can go into the initial network. Let me copy this. Actually, let me do the instructions first. All right, new paragraph. I can say subnet 1. Then I can pop in the variable. Don't judge my HTML. I don't really care because it's not a HTML class. Boom. I just give myself another paragraph just in case. There you go. So it pulled network 1 for the left one, network 5 for the other. And that's because it's using the same seed value. So it obviously pulled 0 for the seed for that. So you can have it build your documentation dynamically, which is awesome. And the other thing that we're going to do with this, let me go back to Variable Manager, and I'm going to copy that one. And I'm going to go to the initial network, and I could have built this in ahead of time if I had been really planning this better. Bracket bracket, paste it in the variable. Drives me nuts that the note tool it doesn't let you do multiple notes anymore without hitting the end button. Alright, there we go. I don't know if that's positioned well or not because I really can't see what's going on with it. And if I don't have the subnet mask variable yet, so I could come back and do that. So let's do this. Let's do test activity. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So it pulled a different range of addresses. So it's going with the 172.16 networks. It put a different one on each side. Of course, this is just aesthetics at this point. But we do need to, go in and set variables to the values of the interfaces for the router, the switches, and to the PC.